Ladies and gentlemen,
I don't want
we
to!
welcome you to a very special event celebrating 4 years.
It's clobbering time!
What is up, guys? Arolf Mora here, back again with another video, and today we'll be taking a look at the Hot Toys The Fantastic Four First Steps, The Thing. This is movie masterpiece 813, so let's get into it. So taking a closer look at the Thing here and his accessories, starting off with the head sculpt. Beautiful head sculpt from Hot Toys. Really nailed the likeness of the Thing here from the movie. They kind of went with a neutral expression, kind of a grim looking expression, pun intended, but the sculpting details are there. The paint details and the paint application is immaculate. Kind of adds this nice depth look to it, kind of that rock texture. I don't think Hot Toys has done a rock figure or a rock character that has this kind of rock texture. They could have done it with Korg, even though they haven't. He's a really popular character. I would love to see that, but they did it beautifully here on the Thing. Just demonstrating the eyes here, just how they move. They individually move. Hot Toys does give you a tool to move these eyeballs, but you could just move it with your finger very easily, and they stay in place quite nicely. They're very stiff. They're not very loose. But just a heads up, when you're attaching or detaching this from the body, especially or specifically when you're attaching it from the body, there's a clear plastic piece that kind of bumps into the eyes or the joystick of the eyes and kind of makes it funky. So just be on the lookout for that when you're attaching or detaching this when you're taking pictures or video. So now taking a look at the Thing's first accessory here, his alternative bearded head sculpt that we see at the end of the movie. Amazing, great sculpt. The sculpt is pretty much exactly the same. There are few differences, like the more angrier look to the unibrow and obviously the beard, and he kind of has a different kind of a smug look to his or smug sculpt to his mouth, as opposed to the grim look to the non-bearded version. But essentially the sculpt is the same. The paint job, since it's hand painted individually, the head sculpts will vary from copy to copy. So paint job won't probably look exactly the same, but essentially it does look the same. Just a few details here or there in the paint applications that might look slightly different, but these are hand painted. Hot Toys can't really copy everything exactly the same, but they did a great job with the bearded look here as well. And to anyone that's taking pictures or looking at this figure here, you can see there is a slight gap behind the head here. I'm pretty sure that's for articulation purposes, but it doesn't look as bad looking at it from the front. It kind of gets covered with the collar piece, but it is kind of slightly more noticeable when you're posing it without the suit jacket, which I'll take off and show you how to remove it in this video. But just a little side note, if you're just taking pictures video, there is that gap back there. So taking an even closer look at the Thing's suit here, you can see the 4 is made of a soft rubbery plastic, kind of screen printed on. It's kind of pixelated when you're looking at it super up close, but it should be okay from afar. Got some nice accent details. The little screen printing on the white parts is great and super detailed and sharp, which I really like. Collar is made out of a soft material, so you shouldn't have problems when articulating it. Same thing with the little white parts in the arms area. The belt, I wish they had a little bit more detail. Plenty of detail. It just looks too soft and it looks too like 2D. I wish it had more depth to it. But looking at his little Fantastic Four little watch here, that one has nice details. There's nothing really going on other than just a black screen, black mirror. But you can see right there, more of the belt, just pretty good details. I wish it had more depth to it. Now looking at the rest of the figure here, like the pants, there are fours plastered everywhere throughout this figure. 4 would have been nice, but they really like their 4s in this universe. So looking at it, same screen printing, rubbery material, flexible rubber material on top of that fabric. So it does tend to move with the fabric. So hopefully it won't break in the future. Just don't leave it out in like the sun, like facing the sun, because this material does tend to crack over time if you just leave it out with the UV exposure. But looking at the boots here, same amount of detailing as you get on the top half of the figure in those white areas. Very, very sharp texturing details. The boot or the shoe itself here, from the ankle down, it's a hard rubbery plastic. They have some texturing details throughout the white parts of the boot. Would have been nice if Hot Toys kind of did a black wash, because it just looks just very like plain Jane white. It's nothing's going on from afar, but if you look at it up close, there is some texturing details still in there. Next up for things accessories, you get one pair of these fists. They kind of look like little fried chicken fingers right there. Sculpting is pretty much the same throughout, like the left hand and the right hands. You can see his open hands here. You get one pair of those, and that's pretty much it for the hands. But like I said, looking at the sculpts here, they are consistent, having the same sculpts on the left hands and then the right hands. And I don't know if it's just my copy or not, but oh my gosh, look at the differences in the orange. One looks paler than the other. I don't know, hopefully that's just my copy. And one thing to note about these hands, the end pieces may look very jaggedy, but it is made out of soft rubber plastic, so you shouldn't worry about articulating these hands when on the figure, because it won't scuff up the paint since it's made out of that soft rubbery plastic. And some nice little details in the hands here. You could see you got the R and then the L for right and left if you still don't know your right and left. Okay, next up for things accessories, you get his stand here, kind of your standard 1/6 scale Hot Toys stand. They're kind of going with this hexagonal shape here for the Fantastic Four figures. You could see it's kind of a textured pattern here. You kind of got a nice thing silhouette, kind of cartoon overlay on it. You got the logo right there on the side. You got the name of the character at the bottom here. You can see some nice light blues, little highlights there. Kind of hollow, expected with each Hot Toy stand, and it kind of color matched it to the crotch grabber here. A lot of people say that it is kind of small for the thing. The thing's not really tall, but he is wide. But just having him on the base, he is pretty secure. His feet tend to kind of hang off the sides of the base here, but overall, he's pretty solid on the stand, so I wouldn't worry about him falling down, hopefully. Now, since I have the Sideshow exclusive or the special edition version of this figure, he comes with a metal collectible card. Now, don't get me wrong, the idea of having a collectible card for a figure is kind of cool, but having it the exact same design and style for each special edition Fantastic Four figure, which I have pre-ordered, being the same design, it's kind of lazy. It would have been nice if I have the Thing figure here and a Thing collectible card, not just having like a whole poster sheet of or a floating head look of the whole characters. It's just kind of lazy. You can see it is metal. It's kind of a thin metal card. There are some scuffs throughout the metal card, which is quite unfortunate. But nonetheless, just if you're just buying one, just buy one special edition figure, because this card's kind of cool. Got some nice texturing details or nice details embossed in the card, but you can see right there you got all the names of the Fantastic Four characters. But yeah, just a cool card. Would have been nice if it was a little bit more personalized to each character. And last but not least, for things accessories, you get this piece of plastic. Wow. Now this plastic is part of the belt, so it kind of shortens the belt, kind of makes it a little bit tighter when you're removing the upper half of the costume here. So just demonstrating on how to get the upper half of the costume off. So first off, you want to detach the hands here. You want to detach the head right there, and taking this little clear plastic little peg piece, kind of moving off to the side so it doesn't get caught in the fabric. Want to detach the belt back here like so. And just taking a look at the belt piece here, you want to detach that fully. Now this piece is labeled B right there, and the other piece is labeled A. You could see the pegs on the A piece are a little bit tighter, so the belt won't be as loose as opposed to B. So just a little heads up. Now once you have that attached to the belt, you want to go back around here and you want to unzip the thing. And you may have trouble unzipping it just by pulling on it, so just having the thumb at the bottom here and pulling it up is a good technique to fully unzip the little shirt. Now gripping the figure here underneath the shirt with your left hand and kind of using your right hand, wedging your middle finger in, we want to pop off the arm, which is the next step. So you kind of want to wedge that, use your middle finger as leverage and pop it off like so. And you want to move the arm out of the way, kind of pushing the peg over the chest here while simultaneously grabbing the neck collar, pushing that over the little clear peg, and then pulling the arm sleeve down without popping off the arm. You don't need to pop off the arm, so you just pull down on that little arm sleeve at that white part and you should be good to go. And then just removing the arm and then popping back in, then reattaching the head and the hands, and last but not least the belt for the unmasked. I was about to say unmasked, the unshirted thing. Okay, now taking a closer look at the thing here and his articulation with the unshirted version, you could see the amount of detail and paint application detail is carried through the torso and the arms. Even though we don't see it with the shirt, Hot Toys went above and beyond and carried that same detail throughout the rest of his body here. You can see I'm pointing out the gap behind his head here. It is more noticeable without the shirt, but you can remove that gap by just moving his head here. It's on a double ball peg, so you can kind of shift it down, kind of make him look like he has a hunchback kind. You can see his head looks like he's just kind of pointing forward right there. But you can also move the neck, the base of the neck forward and back. It's kind of on a ratchety joint, so you can see you kind of can remove some of those gaps if you just move the head up and down. But yeah, just a heads up just for photography reasons. And you can see there's still a gap right there on his neck on the sides there. So yeah, just a heads up when you're taking pictures of him. It may not look perfect on all angles, but it does give him a lot of range and motion in the head. And with that being said, you can move his head up that far. That's just with the double ball peg. You can get a little bit more motion if you kind of push at the neck area or his little Adam's apple area here, just to get a little bit more motion right there. So you could see how dark the neck is, which is surprising just looking at it. I wish it was a little bit more color matched. So I don't know why. I don't know if in the movie it's accurate, but his neck is a little bit dark for me, as well as the head. The head is a little bit more saturated compared to the torso here, but that's just me. But you could see the bearded look right there. Still has that same gap as well. But yeah, it isn't as bad as it is on the side here, but you can see the motion that you get moving it forward and back. So you still get motion with the bearded head sculpt. Okay, now moving to the torso here, you got that same amount of great detail, soft rubbery plastic on the torso, same thing with the arms here. You can see where the arm meets the torso here. You can see those little jagged pieces are made out of soft rubbery plastic. It's on a ball joint here, and it does tend to shift around when you're moving the arm. I love how it's soft rubbery plastic and the sculpting details are still amazing there. They kind of make it a little bit seamless based on how the back part is sculpted, where the arm meets the torso, which is very nice. It's not fully seamless, but it still looks good nonetheless. You can see the arms here, they almost bend at 90 degrees. You can push it further to get closer to that 90 degrees, but since it's made out of rubber, it kind of bounces back. Now looking at the biceps here, they do have a bicep swivel, so both of the arms do have a bicep swivel, so you can rotate it in or out just like that, which is nice, and it's also ratcheted, so you know it's secure. And his arms and hands have that standard ball joint. And taking a look at his torso articulation here, you can see, I don't know if it's a ball joint or a hinge joint, so you can move it forward and back. And he also has a little bit of an ab crunch to it, just barely. You can see right there, you can see how it moves in the back. You see that ab crunch, and he does have a little bit of a swivel. It's kind of restricted because of that rubber kind of rubbing against the plastic of the lower half of the body. But yeah, you get some motion in the torso as well. Okay, since we put his shirt back on, taking a look at the thing's articulation here fully. So starting off with the head, it's on a double ball peg, so it can move up and down. It's kind of hindered by that collar piece right there, so that's how far he can look down. He can look up that much, but you could see if you push it too far, the head will pop off. So you can get a little bit more motion of his head looking up by just grabbing the neck and kind of pushing it back here to get a little bit more motion. Or you can move the neck forward there, and also with the head, so you can make him kind of look a little bit more forward if you want, or look a little bit more down if you want, right there. Since it's on a ball joint, it can move side to side, or if you can rotate it all the way around with that neck collar, so it doesn't really get in the way since you do have those gaps in the head. Now his arms here, they do rotate forward almost at 90 degrees. You can push it further. The material is quite flexible. It does tend to pop out right there at the base of the torso. It can move back that much, almost at 90 degrees, or at a 45-degree angle if you want to be realistic. His arms do move out, both of them out that far, at a 45-degree angle as well. Not bad. It looks pretty good as well. He does have a bicep swivel, as I mentioned before, but you could see it doesn't really look as noticeable as when it's like unshirted. So you could see, you could bend his arms right there. It's gonna be even almost at 45 degrees, but I just like how it kind of bunches up and kind of gives him a little bit of muscle definition. But yeah, like I said, bicep swivel, you got to bend at the elbow, so almost at 45 degrees, but you can give him some looks right there. And taking a look at his hands here, it's on a double ball peg. It does tend to pop off pretty easily when you're rotating it around, so in and out it does tend to pop off, but just rotating it right there, pretty good, and you get a little bit of wiggle room in the hands here, so not bad but not great. So now looking at the torso here, I kind of want to move his belt down. He has some side to side motion. It's pretty much the exact same motion that you get when you have the shirt off, so a little bit of ab crunch here and there. It just doesn't look noticeable as when you have the shirt off, so just not that much difference. So his legs here, they can kick forward like that, but he really can't sit down because he's a hunky little guy right there. They can't kick back whatsoever, just the way how his gluteus maximus is sculpted. It does tend to bunch up right there, so be careful when pushing his legs back. You might kind of damage the fabric here. And you can see he also has an upper thigh swivel right there. He has a single joint at the knee. Based on the fabric material of the pants, would have been nice if he had a double jointed knee, so he had a little bit more options like for more dynamic poses or running poses, but you can see it bends at a 45-degree angle. Taking a look at the feet here, they're on ball joints, I'm assuming. They're not hinge joints because they tend to move freely, like up and down, left and right, and has a little bit of an ankle pivot. I wish it had more range at the ankle so you can get some more wide standing poses with this guy. And you can see it does tend to rotate as well at the boot, but you can see it bunches up right there, which is kind of annoying, so just be on the lookout when posing your thing. So yeah, that's his articulation. Then also, if you're posing the figure, the pants tend to fall down naturally when you're moving the torso or the legs here. They are kind of held or attached on or kind of gripped on by these like little rubber pieces on the sides right here, and also the front sides right here. So you kind of just want to push it up if it falls down, and just trying to put it back to like factory default. You kind of want to tuck the pants underneath the shirt, and then once you have that fully tucked in all the way around, you just want to attach the belt, and once that's done, you're pretty much back to normal with the thing. Okay, now doing some size comparisons. Here is the thing next to a couple of 6-inch figures from Marvel Legends Fantastic Four by Hasbro. Also, you got figures from Deadpool and Wolverine, including the Spider-Man No Way Home Final Swing suit, the first version. Also, a couple of Avengers Endgame figures like Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man Mark 85. And lastly, you got Green Goblin, the DX32 Joker, and the Black Suit Spider-Man. So overall, I think this is a really fantastic figure, pun intended. I mean, just looking at it, just in this display box right here with the lighting, the sculpting, the details is immaculate. It's fantastic. The head sculpts, there's not really much to talk about this figure. This figure is just visually delicious to look at. There are some minor nitpicks here and there. One thing I forgot to mention, like the head is kind of a little bit more saturated compared to the torso. You could see right here, but that's understandable. They're using two different types of materials, like the hard plastic on the head as opposed to that soft rubbery plastic in the torso. So I'm assuming there was like some issues getting the paint right, but just looking at it with the shirt on, it's just great. The proportions are great. Obviously, since this is made out of a soft rubbery plastic, kind of a seamless joints in the arms, it's kind of tough articulating the figure or getting this figure into dynamic poses. I tried my best here, but other than the articulation, just having this piece in a museum pose and a standing pose, it looks great. It has a presence on your shelf, and I really can't wait to have this guy next to the other Fantastic Four figures coming out this year. But as a first release from the Fantastic Four line by Hot Toys, this is amazing. If you can still find him online or on eBay, Sideshow, whatever, go pick him up. He's the only figure that we have, the Thing figure that we have that I know of, as opposed to the Marvel Legends Hasbro figures. I don't think Mafex or Mezco made any of these Fantastic Four figures. I'm pretty sure there is another version or another Thing figure, but who knows. This is probably like the definitive Thing figure from the movie, and it kind of carries over through Avengers Doomsday, which is great. So kind of has that nice continuity from First Steps to a Doomsday. So overall, solid figure, rock hard figure. I don't meant to say it like that, but yeah, if you guys enjoyed my video, please drop a like, subscribe for more videos. I know I haven't made one in a while, but this is my first entry back. So hopefully you enjoyed this 4K good quality crispiness video. I don't know. It's been a while, but yeah, that is it guys. Hope you guys like it. Arolf Moras. This is signing out. Peace.